Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Friday night. I don't know why I'm looking at my wrist. Not got a watch on. It's 6:10. Just really getting my head around the order of events for tomorrow. I've tentatively set next Friday for the first brew day. I think we're ready. Well, we're not ready. We will be ready by then. A few things we need to fix, but there's nothing, in principle, there's nothing stopping us from making beer other than some missing ingredients. So I've ordered some hops, I've ordered some yeast, I've got all the malts already. There's enough there for 3 or 4 full brews. So we can give it a whirl and see how it goes. I'm just conscious there's a couple of things missing. Number one, I've got 4 dripping heating elements. So that's the first thing I've got to fix tomorrow. I don't know why they're still dripping. I suspect when I'm screwing them in, they're not in all. It's bottoming on something before the threads have completely closed and compressed the fibre washer. So I need to take a closer look at that because it's strange that they're all dripping. They're a different brand, a different type of heating element than the last one. Same company makes them, but I'm just wondering whether there's an extra couple of turns on the thread or something. So that's the first thing we're going to do tomorrow. Then we'll get some water in that kettle into the copper, get it warmed up, and then we're going to blast caustic through that plate heat exchanger, which I put a little bit of water through last week, and the contents of the local pond came out of it. I think it stunk. Hop seeds and bits of slime and all kinds. It's been stood for quite a while, and it's obviously been rinsed through previously, because there was still some water in it, but it's a bit stagnant in there, so we got to absolutely nuke it. Then I'm probably going to strip it down, clean all the plates, put it back together, at which point I'll probably discover that I've broken the gaskets and I can't use it anyway. So we'll see how that goes. A couple of other things I will need to solve before next weekend. Obviously, once the heating elements are done, the kettle itself and the 2 fermenters, the construction of them, I've shown a little clip once before, but the construction of them is such that there's a single port on them, on the bottom. It starts at the centre of the dished base, right in the middle. There's like a U-shaped channel in the stainless steel, and then as you head towards the valve on the front, this channel gets deeper and deeper and then becomes a tube, 32 millimeters ish inside diameter, and then heads off to the RJT valve on the front. So there's nothing there to stop trub, hop, debris, any other crap that's in there just getting pulled out with the contents. And clearly we need to make sure we get as little of that as we can into the pump and then into the heat exchanger post-boil. So options are drill another hole in the side of the tank, low down, put a takeoff port on it, but I have no idea how high or how low to put that. I don't know what sort of thickness of trub or trub we'll have at the bottom, so I'm just keen not to start boring holes in the thing until we're a little bit more certain about that. So I think we've got to do the first brew without it and see what we get. So what I bought in the meantime are 3 what they call mandrel bends. They're stainless steel 304 32mm diameter stainless steel tube, which is bent into a 90-degree upright. So I can knock that 32mm into the tube. If it's a little bit loose, I can put some silicone O-rings around it just to pack it out. If it's a little bit tight, I can cut some V's in and compress it slightly. We'll work it out tomorrow. In fact, not tomorrow because they're not coming until Monday, but we'll work it out end of next week. Get that in. That will give us that U-shape upstand, which currently will be 150 millimeters from the bottom of the kettle, which is, I think, probably too deep, but I don't know. So we'll just go with it as it is. When we drain off, we'll work out what the level of the trub is, and we can cut. Actually, Mike can cut. Thank you, Mike. Mike can cut that pipe down to whatever level we need. That's at least going to give us the ability to let the crud settle out in the bottom and draw from above it. but it doesn't filter anything, so there's still a chance that bits can get in and down the pipe. So I've just been chatting with Harry on WhatsApp, and he's got some ideas about filters and things that we could use to just make sure that we're not sucking bits into the pump and then into the heat exchanger. The heat exchanger guys I spoke to today, UK Exchangers, are good enough to send me the full manual for this unit that I've got, so I know how to take it apart and how everything goes back together. But they've said that they're happy with the spec, at least. The particles up to 0.5 millimeters, no problem at all. We'll go straight through it. Up to 1 millimeters is okay. Depends on the shape of the particles, but this is mushy hot bits, so I'm hoping that it would probably be okay anyway if we did get some bits in. But we got some other options. I've got other bits of filters and hop spiders and things that we could tentatively use in a kind of MacGyver style way to just protect the pump and the heat exchanger should we need to. And obviously we can then transfer into the fermenter, where I'm going to put the other two of these 90-degree elbows. I'm going to put those in the bottom of those, again exactly the same reasons, so that when we rack from them, we can take off from above the yeast cake. Again, I don't know, because I've not brewed in them before. I don't know how high the yeast cake will be in the bottom, so I'm just going to leave them at their original length, and then we'll work it out when we rack how much height above the yeast we've got. And again, we can get Mr. Mike to chop those down for us to the right height. We've got enough pipes and bits and fittings. We've got all the cleaning chemicals we need. We've got all the ingredients. We've got casks. I don't have a cask washer, but once that fermentation starts, the clock's ticking. Hopefully, we can get that assembled. Worst case, I'll ask Sean Ailing at Tom's Tap nicely if I can shoot around there with some casks to put on his cask washer. I'm sure he'll be okay with that in exchange for a pint and a bag of crisps or something. We'll see how it goes. If it all goes wrong, it's cost a bit of yeast, a few hops and a day. In the grand scheme of things, it's a drop in the ocean. So we'll give it a whirl, see how we get on. So that's the plan. Next weekend, Easter weekend, fingers crossed. If something goes horribly wrong tomorrow, I'll probably delete this part of the video and you'll never see it. If it doesn't go wrong, then that's the plan. It is just possible that Jake at City Plumbing has saved my arse. I've been in the unit all morning trying to seal, well, just one of these, and it does not matter what I've tried. Fibre washer sits on there. You're not supposed to use any PTFE tape on these threads, apparently. Just tightening up onto this washer should be enough. Well, it isn't. I think I've ruled out this thing not bottoming out, because one of the new fibre washers that I bought, which I put on, it cut it in half as I tightened it up. I over tightened it, so it's definitely bottoming. Definitely not bottoming. These are the original washers, which just seem to be doing absolutely nothing. So I have jointing compound for potable water, so that's okay, hot and cold. I also have these slightly more rigid, tougher fibre washers and gas PTFE tape, which is thicker and hopefully won't tear quite so much when I screw them in. So we're going to go back and give that a whirl now. So we is cleaning. So in here we got just a little circuit from the copper out through that red pipe into the pump, out of the pump into currently the input of the heat exchanger, which doesn't have a cold supply at the moment. It's just as it is. Out of the heat exchanger, back into there. That is a 2% solution of Murphy and Sons anti-foaming S, which is sodium hydroxide and something else. What is it? Sodium hydroxide and sodium hypochlorite. So not good for stainless steel, but it's what I've got. And it's quite warm, so most of the chlorine comes out of it anyway. I'm going to give it a bloody good rinse after as well. So currently, the only reason it's in there is just so I could heat up enough liquid to just keep it circulating through there. I've had it running the other way as well, pushing in through the out and out through the in to try and dislodge. I was a bit surprised how slow the flow is, but actually I thought it might be blocked, but I think it's just because of the number of plates it's got to go through. It's not going to come out as fast as it could go in potentially, but I think that's all right. Toxic steam. So that's clean. It smells better already, and subject to what it's like once I start running some clean water through it shortly, we'll decide whether we're going to tear it down now or later. So that's that. Deliveries have arrived, and I have now received what I was talking about before, 3 of these stainless steel 304 mandrel bends, 32mm, which I'm not going to put one in the mash tun obviously, but it's the same size hole, it's easier to get into, so I've stuck one in here, and it's doing exactly what I hoped it would. It's get out of the way of the reflection. There you go. So basically it's just knocks in. There was a little gap around it, a millimetre, less than a millimetre, half a millimetre. So what I'm going to try and do is see if I can get someone just to very slightly flare the end of it. Probably Mr. Mike next door, but he's not here. So for now, just to prove the concept, I put a couple of wraps of PTFE tape around that end, just to give it a bit of a friction fit. And as you can see, there's plenty of water. Well, maybe you can't see, but there's plenty of water in there, just below the surface of that pipe. And I've opened the butterfly valve, and there's an occasional drip. So I'm happy with that. If that was in the fermenter, or either fermenter actually, we're not letting yeast pass around the tube. It's got to go through. What we're pulling out has got to go through it. So I'm quite happy with that now. The height above the water will be determined after this first brew next week. I hope next week. I'm going to get one into the copper as well. Do the same thing in there. So yeah, just need to flare that out about a millimetre, just to give us a bit more resistance when we push it in. So far so good. You see the floor's looking a bit wet because I've been switching the direction of this and trying to induce a bit of water hammer in it, but I'm not sure these valves are in the right spot, so we'll have another little go. But I've just stirred it around, but there's so much crap in there before. It's all back in suspension again now, but I've got a lot of rubbish out of it, so that's pretty good. And then the other thing is, remember to turn off your ball valve, because I've now got about, 200 litres of water that I didn't want. I just turned around and it was full. So it'll be used. We've got some cleaning to do, so I'm just going to leave it in there for now. Transfer it to the copper, warm it up, and use it to clean these two fermenters. What else have we done? Not a lot else really. I'm just looking now, it's nearly 4 o'clock on the badly installed timer. I might have to think about going home to watch the Grand National in a minute and then collect my winnings, obviously. So, seems to be going to plan. John Guest fitting on the outside and inside. Let's work that off. We've got the little nozzle jets that I bought off Amazon. I'm going to use this as the lock nut because these are 1/4 NPT, and it's not a popular thread over here. So I'm thinking with an O-ring either side, one inside, one outside, and a couple of washers, I can use the John Guest fitting effectively as the lock nut that will hold it on. So one in there, and then a couple down the tube, and we should be okay. I need to fix that wooden support to something, probably the strut across the back. Although, to be honest, once it's all assembled, it's kind of rigid, so it might just be happy with the vertical support. I'll have a look later. Oh lordy, I think we're done. It has been one busy day today, one busy day. I didn't film a whole lot. I thought I had plenty of footage from yesterday, so I just wanted to crack on today because I'm really hoping, or was really hoping when I started the day, that I could get enough done so that I'd be in confident shape to brew Easter weekend, and I think we're there. I think I'll have a bottle of wine when I get in to celebrate. Let me take you through it. Well, what we've done, a few bits and pieces today. We put this little pump in here, which now allows us to recirculate the HLT on the Friday night when we heat the water up. That just allows us to circulate from bottom to top. It wasn't essential, we could have stirred it or whatever, but it just does make it a little bit more consistent, so that's in now. Let me take you through all the gear, step by step. The more experienced brewers out there can say, you've done that wrong, you've missed this bit. Okay, so we have cold water in to the HLT, temperature controlled, on a timer. Heating element will come on, midnight, the night before we brew. Warm the water up, circulated, and then when we're ready in the morning, this pump is now automated and metered, so I can dial in what amount of water I want on the little meter thing, and transfer, 200 litres, say, for the sake of argument. 200 litres will dump in there through the long pipe, mash, and then when we're ready, disconnect that arrangement, replace with a flexible pipe onto the sparge arm, and we can transfer out while sparging through the hygienic pump over there, hiding in the corner, which will take us from mash tun into copper via bits filter, just to capture any bits of grain. We'll stick it through that stainless steel, be all right. Into the copper, start the boil. When we got steam, new steam condenser arrangement, untested. We're just gonna wing it, see what happens. I've tried. It's tested as in it sprays, but I don't know if it's going to handle the steam. We'll find out. It's a baby version of Harry's, using 4-inch wood burner tube. Ignore the black tape. That'll be much prettier next time you see it. 4 jets, rubber O-rings, all the way down into, well, nothing at the moment, but there'll be a tray or a bucket there with a drain, which will run off. Look at the muddy footprints there again. It's this concrete floor. It's winding me up now. Sick of mopping it. We will dump into the floor drain, unless I can think of something better to do with the steam that comes out. Be nice to capture some heat from it or something, but I'm not that smart. Anyway, boiled hops, pump out. We've got those little U-bends, no, the little L-bends now, which should allow us to whirlpool and settle all the brake and trub and hops and bits out at the bottom, and we'll draw from above that gently through the heat exchanger, out of the heat exchanger, into the fermenter. Cold supply into the heat exchanger, the cooling water, and then out. And now, I was going to dump it in there, wasn't I? That's what I bought these for. But no, we are capturing it back into the HLT. That is received wisdom from many people I spoke to. So we'll get that water back, which we can use then for subsequent brew, cleaning, whatever. So through the heat exchanger into the fermenter, and on the first fermenter I have underneath a Maxi 210 with an STC 1000 on top, so that we can put a thermocouple into the back, which is already in, and regulate the temperature, either to maintain a fermentation temperature or cold crash at the end of fermentation. That now, it just had water in before, but that's now got a glycol water mix, so I've had it running, cooling down nicely, and so far so good. Fermenter 2 has no cooling connected to it at the moment, so I'm going to have to think of a way to push that coolant through either fermenter, should one call for cool. That's easy, but just not had time to think about how to do that. I'm assuming that Maxi 210 will run two barrel fermenters. Should do, right? If not, I'll have to try and pick another second-hand one up, but I think we'll be alright with 2 off that, with some motorised valves or solenoids or something. And then rack, got some hoses, and I've got a rack-in doodah up there as well, into my bargain second-hand casks. Oh, I need some cask consumables as well. Okay, we'll sort that. Oh, no, I think I might have some. Have I got some? Yeah, they were new, weren't they? Yeah. Yeah, I think we're all right. Got some bits there. I'll buy some new anyway. Rack into these casks, and then off to the hostelries of the area. Fingers crossed. And I'll be in touch, guys, very soon. As soon as we're ready. Didn't want to get you excited too soon, but I think we're there. And look how much space we've got now. Now I've tidied up over here. I've cleared all the crap out, filled my car up with all the stuff that needs to go home, tools and bits and pieces. We got a good space here. Definitely room for tables and chairs in there. Definitely. As if I haven't got enough to do. Another little project. Anyway, next time you see me, we'll be brewing. Fingers crossed. I'll try and get as much footage as I can of the brew day. It's going to be a bit frantic, I think, but I'll do my very best. Wish me luck, guys. See you next week.